Good morning, dear students. This is Prashant Pandey, and in this lecture, we will discuss the constitutional basis of the standing orders as provided under the Industrial Employment Standing Orders Act 1946. In this lecture, we will cover the constitutional basis of the Standing Orders Act 1946, the constitutionality of the Act itself, and the essential features of the Act, the main things, the purposes which the Standing Orders Act is fulfilling. Now comes to the constitutionality part. Article 19 1 Clause G provides that all citizens shall have the right to practice any profession or to carry on any occupation, trade or business. So according to Article 19(1)G, every citizen of India, it can be a natural person or artificial person, they have the right to carry on any profession or to practice any profession or carry on any occupation, trade or business. And in such carrying, it is implicit that they have the right to follow those procedures which is essential for the carrying on of those occupation, trade or business. In that process, if they want to enter into a contract with any other person, this article provides guarantee to the concerned person to enter into any contract which is legal and which is not inconsistent with the provisions of this act or the provisions of any law. Clause 6 of this act provides certain restrictions on the freedom guaranteed under the provisions of 19 Clause 1 Subclause G. According to this provision, nothing in Subclause G of the said clause shall affect the operation of any existing law in so far as it imposes or prevent the state from making any law imposing in the interest of the general public reasonable restrictions on the exercise of the right conferred by the said subclause. According to the provisions of Clause 6, a reasonable restriction in the interest of general public can be imposed by the state governments by enacting any law which is in the interest of the general public. So what is the contention between the fundamental rights as provided under 19(1)G and Clause 6 is that a citizen has provided fundamental right to carry on any occupation, trade or commerce, and for that they can enter into any contract. That contract may also be a contract of employment. The terms and conditions of that contract, that is the contract of employment, can be ascertained by the mutual agreement between the employer and the workman concerned. But as we know, this may cause losses or it may cause disadvantages to the working class who are at inferior position as compared to the employer, which are rich and have a dominant position in the society. So to protect the interest of the general public, Clause 6 provides certain restrictions and that restrictions can be imposed, and for that any law which is going to save the interest of the general public can be enacted by the state governments. And in this reference, the Standing Orders Act 1946 is constitutionally valid, and it is not against the provisions of Article 19 1 subclause G. The position of the right to contract in the industrial employment matters vis-a-vis the certified standing orders was explained impliedly by the Apex Court, that is the Supreme Court, in SS Light Railway Company versus SS Light Railway Workers Union, and it was observed by the Supreme Court that the right to contract in industrial matters is no longer an absolute right, and statutes dealing with industrial matters abound with restrictions on the absolute right to contract. So, according to Supreme Court, the rights provided to the employer under Article 19 1 subclause G is not an absolute right, and by enacting a statute, certain reasonable restrictions can be imposed on the freedoms provided under that article. It has also been opined that these restrictions on the absolute right to contract are imposed because security of employment is more and more regarded as one of the necessities of industrial peace and harmony, and the contentment it brings about is a prerequisite of social justice. So, according to Supreme Court, the purposes of the Standing Orders Act is to provide employment security to the workers and to bring social justice as provided under the preamble of the Constitution of India to each and every section of the society. Where the model standing orders or certified standing orders are in force, the employer cannot enter into a contract of employment with the workmen even though they are willing, with the terms and conditions which are in contradiction to those in the standing orders. After the enactment of this act, it is mandatory on the employers and the concerned workmen that they should follow the provisional requirement as provided under the Standing Orders Act 1946, and they will not deviate from the requirements of the act, and they will not enter into any contract which is in derogation of the provisions of this act. Now we will discuss the essential features of the act. The first essential feature of the Industrial Employment Standing Orders Act 1946 is that it provides a right, or an obligation is also imposed by this act on the employer to draft standing orders. Standing orders are the terms and conditions of employment on which the workmen are employed by the employer. The act requires the employers to draft standing orders for their industrial establishments. Drafting of standing orders is compulsory for the employers who employ or have employed 100 or more workmen on any day of the preceding 12 months. The second essential feature is that it provides for certifying officer to certify the draft standing order. The act makes provision for the certifying officer. Certifying officers are appointed by the appropriate governments. The certifying officer certifies the draft standing orders submitted to him by the employers. The certifying officer adjudicates upon the fairness and reasonableness of the draft standing orders. The certifying officer may refuse to certify the draft standing orders if the conditions of employment in the draft standing orders do not include any of the matters specified in the schedule of the Industrial Employment Standing Orders Act 1946. So, this act provides for the appointment of the certifying officer, and it will be the duty of the officers to look into the fairness and reasonableness of the standing orders which has been framed by the employers, so that the element of arbitrariness or biasness can be struck out from those standing orders. The third requirement or third feature of the Act is that this Act provides for the certified standing orders to be binding in nature. The draft standing orders certified by the certifying officers are binding both upon the employer and his workmen. The certified standing orders have statutory force and override the individual contract between the employer and his workmen. So it is obligatory on the employer and the workmen that they will be bound by the terms and conditions of the standing orders which are according to the provisions of this Act and which has been framed by the employer. After that, the next essential feature is the duration and modification of certified standing orders. The certified standing orders are ordinarily not subject to modification within 6 months of their certification, unless and until there is an agreement between the employer and the workman concerned for an essential modification in the standing orders before the expiry of stipulated 6 months period. At last, this Act provides for the model standing orders. The appropriate government may draft model standing orders for the purpose of the Industrial Employment Standing Orders Act 1946. The model standing orders are applied to those industrial establishments to which the Act becomes applicable, but their standing orders are still to be certified. The model standing orders applied temporarily for this prescribed time taken by the employer to draft the standing orders and get them certified from the certifying officer. So, unless and until any standing order has been framed by the employer concerned and it has been submitted before the certifying officers for the registration, the model standing orders framed by the appropriate government will be applicable on those industrial establishments for which no standing orders has been framed by the concerned employers. Thank you so much.